Hey listeners, welcome to today's episode of Show Me Your Hustle. I am so excited to hear your story. So let's jump in. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're at, what you're working on?
What I'm working on is a lot right now. But the fun part of the things I'm working on is agentic AI. And I'm sure that's what a number of people are already hearing about. But the company I work for is focused on agentics and the customer experience side of the
Yeah.
world. So you're in conversations talking about customer journeys, customer touch points, and then seeing how you're building and training AI robots to actually take on some roles in those places.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
fun. Yeah, it's fun.
How did you get here?
It's a good question, and I'll always say this every time I have the opportunity that my curiosity is one of the reasons why I am anywhere that anyone thinks I am right now, but many years ago, studying law in uni and having to work in
Okay.
tech is already like, and that happened. And just when I thought I was finding my feet, started an agency, everything was cool. My dear husband, God bless him, came on and said, "Hey, we have to move to Dublin." And then I was like, "What? To start all over again? Oh, not again." But I had to get in there. We had a little daughter, and because of that, we couldn't split, so we just had to go together. And the hustle was tough, starting all over and saying, how do people here know me? And Dublin is a bit small, so you're almost like everybody there's already a community and a family. They kind of know and
Right.
vibe together. It was just had getting in there and making things happen. Then my daughter one day on her way to school, she then came and said, "Mommy, are we poor now?" Like I'm like, "Are we poor? Like what's going on?" And that's when I knew our own hustle at 6 years old was way more than mine. So it was my way of saying, "Hey girl, dust it. If a 6-year-old is having it this tough,
Right.
you need to
Right.
really roll some pants and just
Uh,
get life together." And for her,
yeah.
it was just the change. How do you go from having a driver and a nanny to having to go from tram to tram and they wake up so early? It was just tough for her, But that
Right.
was very encouraging for me because I kind of felt like I'm not the only one that is feeling this, and then she needs me to be an inspiration. So I just
Yeah.
switched it up at that point. I think it was my third year actually, and then I was like, I'm gonna go for my master's in marketing. I've always done marketing anyway, so hey,
Yeah.
we'll do it. And then I went in for my master's, and in that classroom, I made local friends. And then from making local friends, I got my first referral after my master's and my first job, which was a HubSpot. Yeah, so that was like how that journey started for me. Yeah.
I love that it's always so. I have a 5-year-old, and so
Ah,
I resonate with that. And I'm like, I love that it's always through a child's eyes that you're like,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
crap, I am now failing at life, so thank you.
yeah.
I think we had a similar situation where we drove by a pink Tesla
Oh,
yesterday, and my daughter goes, "Why can't we drive a Barbie car?" And I'm like, okay, well,
oh my
the mind
goodness.
of a 5-year-old, you know,
Like
just
that's success to her. Like, really, guys, let's make life
yeah.
fun. Like, why are we so serious?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know why ours isn't pink and glittered and
yeah,
rhinestone
yeah.
because the Barbie car looks way cooler than,
Cooler than
you
this
know,
one. Yeah.
yeah. So I
I
love
love that.
that.
I really love that.
Okay,
Love
so
that.
let's dive into your current
Yeah. Your role.
company, what you're working on as a founder
Yeah.
right now in this moment. What
Yeah.
has been the biggest challenge?
Yeah. As a founder, challenge is always making sure that you're not living in some sky, like some pie sky, like you've created this old bubble for yourself and you feel this is a product that would work, and then you're
Right,
just in there just having fun.
right.
But so for a founder, you just have to be sure that I have the customers that want this product. I have real situations and real challenges I'm fixing. And that's what gives you the kick all the time because you're like, this is a use case for how to use my product, and this is how customers are using it, and this is how it's going to look when many people get it. So that becomes that kind of scenario. The world of AI is an interesting one, and I've been very, very fortunate in my opinion because I came into AI at a time when many people were still very skeptical of it and they didn't do much about it. I remember having a conversation with Damesh Shah, who is the co-founder of HubSpot, when I was working in
Yeah.
HubSpot. And then we had that, we're just having a normal meeting, and then he said something about that if algorithm is able to track us down on YouTube Shorts the way it does now, imagine how to the point it would be in the world of AI. So I
Right.
left that meeting and I went to find out what is AI doing in marketing. And that's how my journey with AI and marketing started, and then the only course then was through Coursera, University of Virginia. I took that course and started talking about it. Down the line, I started, speaking on various platforms about AI, including being invited to be the ambassador, the head of comms for women in AI in Ireland, and now being
Wow.
ambassador for women in AI in Ireland. For me, even having to write books, lecture at universities now
Yeah.
on AI and marketing. So the opportunities are there. But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, if you're then going into business that has to do with AI at this point, then you're asking yourself, how valid are my use cases? How valid are those ideas that we have? Is the business
Right.
world ready to take them in? Or are they ready to, like, at the same time embrace the change that it's going to bring along with it? So it's those kind of scenarios that we find ourselves as founders now. But I still believe that if you follow that path and
Yeah.
make real assessment, make real mistakes, get real feedback, and keep going, I feel that the future is that. So I'm excited about it any which way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, so there's so much hype around AI.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to dive into this. Do you what do you like? Do you think the hype is real? I mean, obviously you're working in it. You're
Yeah.
working in yeah, just what are your thoughts there?
I think you're asking the very the right person because I would always say, it's is hype versus reality.
Yeah.
I don't know. We all know around us. We use ChatGPT now, and many of
Yeah,
us
I'm like it's the new Google.
we
When's the
didn't want
last
to
time
use
you've
it
gone
today.
to Google?
I tell you,
Yeah.
people want to know what for dinner and they're asking ideas. Somebody wants to propose to his girlfriend, is asking for ideas. A mom has not spoken to her son for years and she feels that, hey, maybe this is a tool that can actually guide me in having that conversation with him again.
Right.
And they start to talk
Right.
again. There's so many use cases for how AI is beginning to change the way that we work, the way that we live. And so
Yeah.
the reality is there. We've always had it around us through Alexa. We've always had it around us one way or the other through the ways in which we had those chatbots and communicated, with our phones, with Gmail boxes and all. But the reality, the reality that it's coming, that we have now is the reality where we should be asking ourselves, how does this improve my
Yeah.
business? How does it help me actually get ahead? How does it help me do better? Because we can actually
Right.
stay in the discussion box where we chat about the hype versus reality, while some others are actually taking those steps to improve on the way they do things and are moving way ahead with it.
Yeah.
You get what I
Right.
mean? So, is those questions from a marketing and sales point of view, for example, you're saying
Yeah.
to yourself that the reality is the fact that with AI, I'm able to qualify my leads faster. And in not only qualifying those leads, I'm able to get cleaner leads at the end of the day. So
Right.
it's the right people now I'm talking to. And then what that
Right.
means is that with that funnel, with before AI, I would say that my target audience, I think, are middle-aged men who work in the financial sector and who are able to make a decision. But now AI is able to say, hey, did you ever know that there's some particular female within that bracket as well who are making that decision? So
Right. Right.
many people have always focused on the target pipeline, but AI is now able to add even into that pipeline to say, hey, you can actually expand on this and still have qualified leads.
Yeah.
There's so many things as well that we're doing with AI, picking the right teams, knowing exactly where to impute this. Yeah, I could talk about AI forever.
What what is one prediction you see, particularly for startups around AI within
Yeah.
the next year?
Right now, we're calling it marketing. We're calling it AI marketing. We're calling it AI into marketing, AI into marketing. What I predict is that it's just going to be called marketing. That's what I predict. No one is going to be having to qualify it as AI. It's just going to be the way we work. It's going
Yeah,
to be the way that we do everything. So it's
yeah,
it's almost saying nobody's asking you Google in this. You just Google. You just go find the information there. So
totally.
it just
Yeah.
becomes the norm. So my prediction is that AI is going to be so entrenched in the way we work and the way we live that we don't have to give it a own name anymore. It's just what it is, and it's how we're moving on. Yeah, it's
Right,
technology. Yeah.
right. Um, what do you think the cons are? I mean, I feel like a lot of people are trying to find the worst case scenario with
Yeah,
it.
like wake me up. Like what's
Yes,
gonna happen?
yes, yes.
Where's the evil at the end of all this? I know. And we can talk about evil, and we talk about the cons, and we talk about the mistakes. All of that can happen. I just always try to say that the way that positives will always be ahead of negatives is if
Yeah,
we speak a lot more about the positives. This negative side will always be there. They will come in. But the biggest danger of that is the danger, in the words of a lady that I really, really respect. Her name is Chimamanda Adichie. She's an author. She calls it the danger of a one-sided story. And I think that's the biggest danger there. Because when we spend a lot of time now where data is being put together to build a world that we're going to live for generations, if we spend
yeah,
that time arguing rather than contributing, what happens is that those who have contributed, it's from their own lens that we start to see the world. It's from their lens
right.
that we start to live in that world. So don't just be a bystander. You need to contribute to the way the world is being built. You need to contribute to the data that is building the kind of space that we
Right.
want our children and their children to walk into and be so proud that their grandparents were in the world when data was building what they have now to build on. You get what I mean? So
Right.
it's such an opportunistic period to be alive. It's such a great time to be alive. But it's also not a time to argue so much about why you should contribute. It's a time when you should say, what is my story? What is my point of
Right.
view? And contribute that to the conversations. Write it in a blog, write it on your social platforms if you have to. You've written that book for many years, but you have the transcript, upload it somewhere, contribute to the conversations if you know that what you have is great, rather than picking holes and constantly saying something is bad. Just contribute, like do your own part of it. And that's the
Yeah.
way I think we can continue to reduce, just get that balance, in there. Yeah.
I like that. Because I mean, so I hear this all the time. I coach high school cheer, and I hear this all the time with high school kids. Like, they're
Yeah.
not learning how to think. They're not. And I actually am like, lately, me using ChatGPT to write email sequences has been more thought than I used to do to just write them. Because I'm uploading
Yeah.
documents, I'm training.
Yeah.
I'm not just write me a sequence. It's hey, I like this person's sequence.
Yeah.
Read this.
Yeah.
I saw this working here. So
Yeah.
I do agree it's the framing. Like when I was in high school, I remember Wikipedia had just came out. It was like, don't use Wikipedia, it's wrong. They're not fact checking. So you still had to do your homework to get there. And so I love how you framed that.
Yeah. I wrote a course recently, and the course was mainly about storytelling through AI. And it's just to make people understand that the way AI, or when AI starts to sound like you start to see the beauty in you working with an AI tool. But
Yeah.
when you just are lazy about it and you just impute anything, it gives you lazy stuff and you get mad
Yeah.
at it.
Lots
But
of rockets.
your experiences are unique to you. Your stories are unique to you. Use that story, use that point of view of what you've learned to train your AI robot or your bot or whatever platforms you're using. And when you get back, makes your head swell that goodness, I
Yeah.
wrote that, that's the
Yeah.
difference between good and great. Yeah.
I like that. Well, Thank you so much. This was a really beautiful conversation, and I'm excited to keep watching you grow on LinkedIn and follow along with your story and what you're building.
Thanks, Ashley. Very nice. Thanks for
Thank
having me
you.
here. And I love your story as well. So keep doing this. This is kicking it. Well done.
Thank you.